wasn't ready to start yet, but here we go. Okay, so the alternate method for multiplying matrices. Okay, essentially, well, actually, there's nothing different. You still multiply them the exact same way, but basically, it's a different way to organize your data. Okay, so ignore that this is here, and we're still doing the same thing. But let's just say that we were taking this matrix times this matrix. Can we do it? It's a 2 by 2. And it's being multiplied by a 2 by 2, so of course the middle numbers match, and our product matrix is going to be a 2 by 2. Okay, so again, it's important to know what your product matrix is going to be. Your product matrix is going to be a 2 by 2. Okay, so you're going to draw your product matrix down below. Draw your product matrix down below. And it is a 2 by 2 matrix there. Then you take your first matrix and you shift your first matrix down. So you're going to have to redraw your first matrix. 2, 1, 3, 4. Okay? So essentially you redraw it so you have your second matrix and your first matrix, and now they line up with your product matrix. So when I do this one, and it just kind of helps you guys to, I guess, organize and see where it is. When I do this one, I'm going to fit in my column 1, and my row 1. And those will fit in to this spot there. So I guess the nice thing about the alternate method is it's easier to see what needs to be multiplied to get you your answer. Okay? So for this one here, I still do the same thing. 2 and 5. 2 and 5 gives me 7. No, it does not. I am so sorry. 2 plus 5 gives me 7. But we are taking 2 times 5. 2 times 5 will give me 10. 3 times 7 gives me 21. And then I add these numbers together. 10 and 21 gives me 31 for my answer. Okay? The next one that I would do, and you can pick them in any order because honestly this one's a little bit easier to see. I could take, my arrows are just so bad. I could take my column 1 times my row 2 now. Okay, so 5 and 1 gives me 5. It's 5 times 1. 7 times 4 gives me 28. Okay, so 5 plus 28 gives me 33. Okay, move to the other column. 6 and 0, and now we're back to 2 and 3. Okay, I don't know if you guys have figured out why I don't like this method, because it's freaking messy. It's too much. I can't handle all this stuff. 2 times 6. 2 times 6 gives me 12. 3 times 0 gives me 0. So 12 and 0, well, 12 plus 0 gives me 12. Okay, and then my last one, 1 and 4. Am I 6 and 0? Gosh, I'm going to be honest, guys. I really hate this. This is too much. Okay, so I'm just going to loop them. 1 and 6 gives me 6. 4 and 0 gives me 0. What's 6 plus 0? Well, that gives me 6. So your answer for this one is 31, 12, 33, and 6. And that's our answer. Okay? So that is your alternate method. I am just really, like I said, I like to have all my information organized, but I can definitely see the benefits of this one because if you guys are looking at this, there's a lot of different ways that you guys can write this that will make it a lot easier for you. Okay, as far as staying organized and knowing what goes where. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple more practice ones like this. Okay, so I've got a 2 by 2 here. And I've got a 2 by 3. So can I do it? Definitely can do it. Okay. So I've got these two matrices being multiplied together. So if I'm going to do the alternate method, I need to drop this down. Okay. So 5, 8, -1, and 0. Okay, I typed this out. Maybe this will help so I can erase some things and keep everything okay. All right, so we dropped this down. Okay, it's the exact same thing. I dropped it down. So now I can see row 1, column 1. So row 1 times column 1. That's what helps us with this process here. So 5 and 8, and then 1 and negative 1 and 2. So 5 and negative 1, if I do 5 and negative 1 is negative 5. 2 and 8 is 16. So now I just need to add these together. What's negative 5 plus 16? Well, that's going to give me 11. Okay, so I have 11 in that spot there. Okay, next one. I've got negative 1 and 2. Negative 1 and 0. Okay, so negative 1 times negative 1 gives me 1. 2 times 0 gives me 0. What's 1 plus 0 is 1. Remember, when you guys are doing these, we add. We're always adding these numbers together. Always adding those numbers together. Okay? Next, I'll have 3 and negative 5 and 5 and 8. So 3 and 5 gives me 15. 8 and negative 5 gives me a negative 40. Add those together, it gives me a negative 25. Okay, and I'm just kind of moving down through. Ooh, I'm going to have to erase. Found that one was 1. Okay. Next then, negative 1 and 0. 3 and negative 5. 3 and negative 1 is negative 3. 0 and negative 5 is 0. What's negative 3 plus 0? Well, that's just negative 3. Try and erase all these very carefully. 0 and 1, 5 and 8. 0 and 5 is 0. 1 and 8 is 8. What's 0 plus 8? Well, that would be 8. You guys kind of see how we're moving all this down. When I erase, it can be a little bit easier to see. Dang it. I think this was 1 and this one was negative 3. Okay, so then our last one, 0 and 1. Negative 1 and 0. What's negative 1 and 0? That's 0. What's 0 and 1? That's 0. So therefore, I've got a 0 in my last spot here. Okay, so there's nothing different than what we were doing before. Okay, it's not like I've created a new process. You're still doing the exact same process. This alternate method just helps to see what needs to be going where in these processes. Okay, personally, I hate it. I can't show enough work. If you guys aren't showing work, it's going to be hard for me to figure out what you're doing wrong. So this is not one of my favorites. Okay, I will, however, say that for a problem like this, when you have a 3 by 1 and a 1 by 3, can I do those? Yep, I'm going to have a 3 by 3 product matrix. For these problems that look like this, it is definitely easier to do. Okay, so remember, our first step is our product was a 3 by 3, so I'm going to drop this one down. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to do that. Okay, so I rewrote it because I kept having numbers overlapping with each other, but we just dropped this one down. This one stays where it is. Okay, so you guys can see for this one, we had a 3 by 1 and a 1 by 3, so our product matrix, the numbers on the outside, would be a 3 by 3. For problems like this, the alternate method is way easier because there's no work you need to show anyway. Okay, what goes in this first square here? Well, it's just those two numbers. So what's 4 times negative 1? 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Okay, keep moving on. Negative 1 times negative 2. What's negative 1 times negative 2? Positive 2. Negative 1 times 10. Negative 10. Okay, for problems where they're 1-bys, I like doing this process just because it's a lot easier to do. Basically, it's just like when you were younger and you were filling out your multiplication tables. Okay, so then we drop down. Now we're using our 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. 3 times 10 is 30. Negative 6 times 4 is going to be negative 24. Negative 6 times negative 2 is going to be 12. Negative 6 times 10 is going to be negative 60. Okay, so your answer when you multiply these two matrices together, negative 4, 12, negative 24, 2, negative 6, 12, negative 10, 30, 60. Okay, your guys' homework for these, is going to be a matrix multiplication worksheet. Okay, so you got your matrix multiplication worksheet. Throw a little joke in there for you just because I'm pretty funny. But when you guys do these problems, I'm going to reiterate this. These are not necessarily easy. Okay, have the answer key there with you so that you can check your work as you're moving through. If you guys have questions, email me. Only a few of you guys have emailed me questions. Some of you guys don't need help, but some of you guys do and are not emailing me. Email me questions, please. Makes it a lot easier for all of us, okay? But have these videos out. You may need to watch these videos a couple times. You might have to work out a problem on your homework, realize you don't get it, rewatch the video. Find the one that looks like it, okay? But email me if you guys have questions.